Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a pretty unique topic that I don't think I've seen anywhere else on YouTube in the tarot space, or it's very rare if so, which as you can see by the title down below is a glimpse into your retirement plus advice in this area. So big special thanks to the user, I believe it's pronounced at I'm a Farmin, who commented, I believe it was 2 readings ago on the career reading, asking, hey, could you do something more pertaining to retirement or retirees? And so I'm a Farmin, if you're watching this video, this reading was inspired by you. So thanks again for commenting and leaving your feedback and suggestions. So even though technically this was inspired for more people of retirement age, don't worry, this reading is inclusive of all different ages. So if you're younger like me, this will give you kind of a prediction glimpse into what your retirement will look like, plus advice on the way there to help give you the best retirement you can have. And just to keep in mind when that time comes, or if you're currently in retirement, this will just kind of confirm some things of your time here in retirement, plus advice on how to go forward during this phase of your life. So it's inclusive of all ages, so young people, don't run away from the reading. Everyone will get something out of this reading. So without further ado, let's pick our piles. Pile number 1's over here on the left. We have Leadership with the polar bear in the starry sky. Pile number 2 is we have Courage with the waves beating against the rocks in the ocean. And pile number 3 is we have Success with a panther in a tropical jungle. So just to reiterate, pile 1's Leadership. Pile 2 is Courage. Pile 3 is Success. Feel free to pause on this part of the video if you still need time to decide which card you would like read for you, or excuse me, I should say pile read for you. Either way, whenever you're ready, drop down to the description box or the top pinned comment below the reading. Click on the timestamp for your reading there, and I will see you in our discussion about a glimpse into your retirement plus advice in this area. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1's. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a glimpse into your retirement plus advice in this area. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile today was the polar bear and starry sky with Leadership. So we're going to set that one over by the pine cone as always. We always do that with pile leaders, right? And this reading will be in 2 different sections today. Section number 1 will actually be describing as much as I can through cards and intuition what your retirement will look like, or if you're currently in retirement, a little bit of a glimpse into the near future. And then the second section will be advice in this area. So if you're young and you're not quite at retirement yet, that will be advice on how to best prepare for retirement. And then if you're currently in retirement, this is advice for this current phase of your life. Okay, so let's split the cards now based on the different sections. There we go. And then we'll talk about these ones later. Today we're going to be using 2 different cardomancy systems. We're going to be using Lenormand, and we're also going to be using, of course, tarot. So I'm going to draw those cards on screen right now like I always like to do with my readings. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1's, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards explaining more about what their retirement is like, or will be like? Please, thank you. 3 cards. As blunt as you can with Lenormand, okay? I'm going to draw, let's see, that one. 2 and 3. Okay. Same thing with tarot. Let's do a shuffle quick. I pre-shuffled, but I always like to do an extra one. Never hurts to shuffle extra. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1's, could you give me 5 cards explaining more about what their retirement will be like, or generally what does it look like now if they're currently in retirement? Thank you. 5 cards, please. Okay, well, we have 2 right there. Those came out together. We have, 2 major arcanas. Okay, 3. And that one kind of came out with it, 4 and 5. There we go. I'm already intuitively getting something about a partner. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to mean a romantic partner, pile number 1's, but I have a feeling that in the future, if you're younger and you're not quite at retirement yet, you're going to be doing a lot with another specific single person. Or if you're currently in retirement, I think you're doing it, like a lot of it is intertwined with another person that's very close to you. So like I said, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a close friend as well. But the reason I say that is I feel, as I was drawing these tarot cards right now, a lot of them kind of came out in pairs. So that's intuitively what I was being told. There's a little bit of a synchronicity there. So anyways, let's reveal your oracle cards. So first up, we have the 2 Archetypes cards. This is going to describe a little bit more about maybe where you'll be at or where you're at currently, or also who you'll be or who you are right now, depending on your age. So first up, we have Child Magical. Light attributes, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. Shadow attributes, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. Okay, there's that one. So Child Magical. Second archetypes for today is God. Light attributes, benevolence and compassion, recognizing the internal force within yourself and others. Shadow attributes, despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. Okay. And your last oracle card for today, at least in this section, is from the Hero's Journey Oracle. We have You Are Invited, number 9. Suit up, show up, open up. Beautiful card. Of course, that whole deck is just gorgeous, but, you know, we're going to actually set that down here a little bit. And then let's reveal your Lenormand. So Lenormand, if you're not familiar, is read like kind of words in one sentence. So today you received the shedding snake, the letter or the document, and the cat, which is a variation on the traditional dog in Lenormand. So reading these together, I would say renewal of a written agreement with a friend. I think that might be related to that partner I was talking about before. So yeah, loyal friend could technically mean a romantic partner. It could also mean an actual like platonic friend. So renewal with the shedding snake. And then the letter is like a written document or an agreement of some sort, something put in writing or communicated. Something a little bit more official. And then the cat is like a loyal friend, kind of like dog traditionally is in Lenormand. Interesting. I don't know if you're going to have an agreement with someone that you work with as like in a partnership or something. Like it's not full, I mean, you're retired, so it's not like it's a full-time job, obviously. But I think it's something you work on during retirement. All right, let's reveal your tarot cards before I get too far in the weeds, and then we'll weave everything together in the end. So your first tarot today is the 4 of Wands or Sticks. This is the card of home, of comfort, celebration. Can sometimes mean partnership because it can mean a marriage card too. Hence celebration in the home, right? Number 2, we have the Queen of Wands. Lots of wands today. The Queen of Wands is the eternal mastery of willpower. Like this woman having chopped all this wood, having worked hard. Once again, we have imagery of like 2 partners working together on something. Interesting. Or, well, I guess the other partner isn't currently working with her on something right now, but she's taking a breather, but... Then we have the Tower. Okay, the Tower is about tumultuous change, so don't run away from the reading. It's not quite scary. We'll see what happens, but yes, the Tower is about something drastically changing, okay? And then we have the 2 cards that flipped out by themselves. Judgment. Judgment is about something like... a transition into like a new phase of life, specifically like spiritually, typically is what judgment means. Something more, maybe more spiritually attuned than your career was before the time of your retirement. It's like shifting into a new higher vibrational energy, I guess is probably a better way to say that. And then last but not least, we have the High Priestess. Glacier Bay National Park. Yep. High Priestess is all about intuition and listening to our voice inside. Especially like we're navigating through ice flows here. What does our gut tell us to do? All right, pile number 1s. Let me have one moment of silence and taking a drink to wet my voice before I remark on what your retirement looks like. I've already seen some themes, like the partnership, but we'll talk more about it in just 1 second. Apologies for the silence. So pile number 1s. I would say, so we already touched on the aspect of I think you're going to be working or you currently are working with a partner on something. I say that because earlier, remember, a lot of your tarot cards kind of came out in pairs. And I intuitively interpreted that as it's like two people working together on something. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Some people, will have a married partner, some people will have, you're not married, but you're romantically together. Some people will have like a platonic friend with them. Whatever is the case for you, pile number ones, you're going to be working with them on something. And I feel like, especially because you have the shedding snake next to the document, it's like the renewal of a contract, the renewal of an agreement. So I feel like there's somebody that you had tried to work on something together a long time ago and it just fell through. And so when this retirement comes, or currently in your retirement, if that's where you're at in your life, that's going to be brought back to life, and you're going to be working with that person again on something. And what that something is, pile number ones, I'm getting a lot of themes about being a leader, hence your leadership you chose as your pile leader, right? Being a leader in some way, and also your hero's journey here. I'm going to pull it out because unfortunately, with my limited space, it can't really show. I'll just show it here a little bit closer on screen. Number 9, you were invited. Suit up, show up, and open up. That gives me like, I don't know if you're going to be like presenting things to people. I don't know if it's like you're going to take things that you learned in your career and you're going to, in your retirement, share more with people that are currently still in that career field. Hey, here's my advice in this area. Here's how you run a business, or here's how you be a successful accountant, or here's how you A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever it was your career, or whatever your career was, I should say. Got that mixed around. And so it's like, that's one aspect of your career is, yes, being a leader. I think speaking to people is something that's intuitively coming forward. Like, I don't know if you're going to do presentations or you're going to teach classes on something that you do. Or even if it's not like speaking about your career and giving advice in that area, it could also be like, it's like you're speaking and giving classes or teaching people things about a hobby of yours, something that you're really, really good at or really familiar with, pile number ones. That's the feeling I'm getting from this reading in terms of at least one aspect of your retirement. Yeah. And then 2, I think you're working with a partner on it, hence, like I said, the renewal of a contract, something that maybe you wanted to do a long ago with this person, but it kind of fell through because maybe things happened in their life that kind of tore it apart, or your life that tore it apart, or you had a falling out and then you're going to get back together and be like, hey, let's try this thing again, right? Let's see how it goes this time now that we're a little bit more established and we have more time now that we're retired, right? Yeah. And then 2, there are a lot of aspects too of spirituality here. Not only did you get God, you also have judgment here. Like I said, that's a lot about moving into like a higher vibrational energy, moving into like a higher spiritual plane, kind of metaphorically speaking, into a new phase of life. So I don't know if it could also be that maybe if you're involved in spirituality, pile number ones, or maybe by the time you retire, you're going to be a leader in some way with that. I don't know, depending on your religion or your beliefs or where you like to volunteer, I'll just use church as an example because that's what I'm most familiar with in my upbringing and culture. But, maybe it's like you do a lot of leadership opportunities at like a church or similar religious building or community in your area, or it could be, maybe like pagan gatherings. It could be maybe like leading a coven, or it could be leading something at, mosque, temple, etc., whatever your religion, your particular spiritual beliefs are, or even it could be something unorganized, like something not so strict in terms of it has to be associated with a certain religion or a building. But either way, there's a lot about spirituality here and leadership in that area as well, too. Giving people guidance, giving people spiritual aid, I think, too. And especially because you have a lot of major arcana here. Everyone that's familiar with my videos they know what I'm about to say. I see a lot of major arcana in readings that are related to major life lessons. This is a key aspect of your soul and part of your mission here on Earth, pile number ones, is during this retirement phase. Leading people in spirituality, teaching people things that you're intimately familiar with, be it career or be it like hobbies that you know really well, or just how to do things. You're going to be like the wise old sage of like the Dumbledore or the Gandalf for a younger generation, saying, here's my wisdom, I'm passing it on. And that's part of your soul lesson, is being a leader in this area, because you have a lot to pass down to people in terms of advice and wisdom in your respective area of expertise. 2, with Child Magical, I almost get the feeling that it could be that you're also going to be working with young people, like children. And maybe it's something like leading a Sunday school, if you're Christian, for example. That's what like I said, I'm most familiar with my cultural background. It could be something else to do with like leading children in spirituality, or the hobby that you do. Like, let's say, I'll just, out of the blue, candle making, teaching children how to make candles or something like that. Whatever your hobby is that you'd be passionate about teaching other people with. That's what I'm feeling, something with children. That, or it's something that you've had a dream about since you were a child, and that's why you return to it in retirement, because it's something that you've wanted to do for so long. It's like a lifelong dream, and finally at retirement you have the resources and the time to really indulge in it for once. So that's kind of what I'm seeing so far for you. And also too, like, looking at your tarot cards here, especially, is like a timeline sequence, is another way I like to read the 5-card spread. Another aspect of your retirement pile 1s is that it's going to be a drastic change from what you were doing before. Yes, you might be teaching people things that you were doing in your career, but I see a lot of change, especially because of the Tower. The Tower is something that completely breaks down to make room for a new, complete direction in life. And it's like here with the 4 of Wands, this is the card of home. I'm comfortable where I am. And then the Queen of Wands comes in here and is like, but actually, though, I'm really passionate about doing something with somebody else. Hence maybe that partner I was talking about. And whatever it is that you wanted to do, it's such a drastic change with the Tower here. But you're willing to do it because it brings you into that higher spiritual plane of fulfillment and attainment with your life lessons here with Judgment. And it's just something that you intuitively know is something that kind of speaks to your soul, something that you know on a soul level that this is what I've always been meant to do. It's just that sometimes the restrictions of earthly things like money and time and the other things that kind of hold us back from our dreams while we're here on this planet weren't allowing you until retirement to fulfill them. Okay. As far as things like locations, let's see if there's anything about like moving homes or moving around or moving places. I don't, for you, pile number 1s, I don't see anything specific about like any general themes about where you might be. There's not really a cohesive theme in that area. So I believe when that happens in a general reading, I believe that's basically because most people are so vastly different. There's not really a theme in terms of location with this particular pile. But yeah, there's a lot about spirituality and reaching out to youth and being a leader and working with this partner and finally being able to do the thing that's been your soul calling for so long in retirement, because you finally have the resources and the time to do it. Becoming a leader instead of a follower, and giving the light of wisdom to the next era or next generation to bring into the future with. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing for you, pile number 1s. A lot of being, in terms of archetypes, the wise, sagely character to other people. Okay, the Dumbledore, the Gandalf, etc. Yeah, teaching other people things. Especially in terms of your prior career, your hobbies, and spiritual related things. Those are the 3 areas I'm generally seeing for where this leadership will shine for you, pile number 1s. All right, so let's move on to the advice section of your reading. We're going to delve into advice for if you're currently in retirement, some guidance in that area, or eventually down the road, if you're younger like me, how to attain that retirement that you're looking for, and also things to keep in mind during that retirement. So, like I said, these readings are inclusive for all ages. Let's shuffle your cards, pile number 1s. Oopsie. This deck always wants to stick. I was never the best shuffler. And then the Lenormand here. There we go. That one's a little bit better. I find that stiffer cards make a better shuffle if you're ever interested in buying decks. Okay. So we'll talk about those in a second. Here's your Oracle cards. Spirit, for my lovely pile number ones, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards of advice for them in their retirement, please? On attaining this dream, being this leader, working with this partner. All right, 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then we have Tarot. Spirit, same thing. 5 cards for pile number ones. Advice in this area. Please, advice for their retirement or attaining this dream in retirement. Definitely that one. 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Let's reveal your Oracle cards. So first up, the Lantern Oracle. You received number 30, Voice. You are here to be known, so speak and be seen. So pile number ones, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Speaking to other people and saying, here is my truth, here is my wisdom, to younger generations who would benefit from your wisdom. All right, so there's one aspect of that kind of reiterates what we talked about. We'll get into that more in a second. Your botanical inspirations flower today is Red Rose, Hidden Secrets. 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. That was by Buddha. Red Rose can also mean love, traditionally, as a symbol. And then your Power of Surrender card. Surrender the habit of people-pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. And then 2, you have an abundance of purple colored cards here. Not only with Voice, but also with the people-pleasing card. And traditionally, purple is symbolic of spirituality. And so, once again, it's just that theme of, I think there's a lot more involvement of spirituality in your life, in your retirement years, pile number ones. All right, let's reveal your Lenormand cards. I'm actually going to shuffle this over a bit. So, you received the Girl, or the Child, the Key, and the Scythe. Reading this in a sentence. Something about youth is the key to quickness or swiftness. Youth is the key to swiftness. Interesting. That's kind of a fascinating reading here. Can also mean optimism, innocence. There's a lot about children in this reading. Not only did you have Magical Child earlier, but you also, you have Child in your Lenormand here in the advice section. Okay, we'll talk about that more in a second. And then your tarot cards are the 3 of Cups reversed, okay? That's something about either a negative social group or maybe a little bit more isolation from social groups. We have the Magician, using your willpower to manifest things. As above, so below. We have Temperance, another major arcana, balance and moderation in all things. 3 of Swords, pain. And last but not least, we have the Queen of Wands again. Harnessing our inner willpower, our inner fire to get things done, like chopping wood. So pile number ones, 1 second, I'm going to adjust in my chair and take another drink as I look over your cards. So, remember pile number ones. This reading is for all ages, and so as we go into the advice section, if you're young, this is advice for you to prepare for retirement and or to keep in mind when you go into retirement, however far away that might be. Or if you're currently in retirement, this is advice for you right now. So just keep that in mind as I read this for you. So anyways, getting to the message of advice. Now remember, we talked about you being a leader, you working with a partner, you teaching the youth things, spirituality, career advice, hobby advice, things like that. Whether or not you're on the way to retirement or you're currently in retirement, the key right now to meeting your dreams swiftly during that time, or at least maybe even preparing for it, working with the youth already, okay? If you're not already working with youth, I would say do it right now, or at least consider doing at least a little bit of it before even you get into retirement, or if you're currently in retirement, like I said, working with them right now, because like I said, it's the key to swiftness, swiftly achieving your dreams. Swiftly achieving your dreams. The key is the youth with that Lenormand reading right there. Okay. Especially too, if you currently believe that there's nothing that you can offer the youth or people that you would be able to teach. Your voice card says, you were here to be known, so speak and be seen. You have a lot of value to give younger people in this life pile. Number one, it's part of your life lesson. It's part of your life path, your soul meaning. Okay. That's something for you to really focus on during that time. They're really heavily encouraging speaking out and communicating to people. All right. So if you're like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure I have much value, you do. You have a lot of value to give people through what you can teach. You're definitely, if I had to assign one archetype to you, you'd be, like I said, the sage. So, yes. Even if you're not in retirement yet, speak out a little bit more. Speak to the youth more as much as you can. 2, I think this is going to be different for everybody, but the red rose, like I said, is symbolic of romantic love. We're going back kind of into that partner thing. Now, if you haven't considered this already, pile number ones, and you do have a romantic partner, or if you do at the time of your retirement, I believe this is an indication that working with your romantic partner during that time, if you have one, is also the key to achieving your dreams. And hence, it's like with the prior Lenormand reading, it was talking about, the renewal of a contract or an agreement with a friend or someone loyal to you. Explore dreams that you might have had with that romantic partner that might have fallen through, that now in retirement or during retirement you'll have the time for, pile number ones, okay? And then hidden secrets too is interesting. I wonder, one moment, I'm going to look at that card. The word that's coming to mind to me is confessions. If you're currently with a romantic partner that you expect to be with the rest of your life, pile number ones, I would say ask them if they have a dream for their retirement and see if it might actually align with yours. It's something that I don't believe that they've confessed yet. Not out of embarrassment or anything, I don't think, but it's just they haven't had really an opportunity to bring it up. Look for something that they haven't spoken about yet, and or like an old friend of yours that maybe you did have an idea with once that fell through, or maybe they haven't even professed it yet. Look at your loyal friends or look at your romantic partners that you think you'll be with for a long time. And see if you can kind of glean a little bit more what they want to do with their retirement someday. Like, what do they dream? What do they picture? Because there's something there that I think will help spark inspiration in you and align with what you're doing in your retirement, pile number ones, okay? Surrender the habit of people pleasing too is also just a hint for you on the way to your retirement or during, to let go of the idea of pleasing other people. Your life is yours to live. You don't have to live your life based on other people's opinions of what should be done, okay? You don't have to retire or live out your retirement in the way that other people do. Because I think for you, especially like with all the cards we've had so far, your retirement is going to be one of the most important parts of your life, pile number ones, for your soul lessons on Earth. And then 2, looking at your tarot cards here, let's see. If you're not quite at retirement yet, pile number ones, a really good key piece of advice for you is sacrifice now where you can. Like, for example, if you know that you're going to need a lot of money for your retirement someday, you're being given some advice to make sacrifices that might be a little bit painful, hence the 3 of Swords right now, but that will bring more balance to your life, doing things more in moderation here with temperance, so that you can be that magician and manifest things in your life at that time, okay? There's something to do here about more moderation needed. Even though it might suck in the short term, because with the 3 of Swords, like I said, is pain, it's something that aligns with that dream that you'll have in retirement, okay? Same thing too, if you're currently in retirement, look at your finances. If you're not quite at the part of having manifested this dream yet, look at your finances and look where you could cut back or do more to financially prepare for this dream of yours too. Also, I think there's a little bit of a warning here to stay away from... Okay, so socializing is a good thing, pile number ones. But I think sometimes we can get distracted with putting all of our eggs in one basket. Like, some people will focus a lot on their social life and not as much on their career, and some people will do the opposite. I think for you with the Three of Cups reversed, it's saying to focus more on what you can do yourself and less in, like, focusing on socializing with groups, especially if you're young. Focus on your career, pile number ones, and bringing in more money to fuel these dreams later, and this moderation, okay? Yeah, and then the Queen of Wands came up again. That's what you had before, like I said, harnessing our inner willpower to get things done, like, you know, chopping the wood. And so, I'm trying to say, okay, one second, especially next to the Three of Swords. Yeah, manifesting our willpower. Yeah, you have what it takes, pile number ones, is kind of what I'm being told. It's just that little pieces of advice is, you know, work with the youth now when you can. Explore dreams with your partners and friends. Believe in the power of your voice and your wisdom. Don't feel like you have to please others when you are deciding your life path. And yes, moderation is key, but you have the willpower and the strength to manifest what you desire. It's just you might have to make some sacrifices in the meantime. All right, so as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you, my lovely pile number ones. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a glimpse into your retirement plus advice in this area. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Courage with the Waves Against the Rocks. So we're going to set your pile leader next to the pine cone over here. We'll talk about that more in tandem with the other messages later. And this reading will be in two different sections, just real quick. Section number one will be what your retirement will look like, and or a glimpse into the near future of your retirement if you're currently in retirement. And then the second section will be advice in this area, either if you're young on the way to your retirement or currently in your retirement. So we'll split the cards now. These we'll talk about later. And then let's draw your cards for the first section. So, Spirit, for my lovely pile number twos, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards describing what will their retirement look like? 3 cards, please. One, 2, 3. Same thing, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 2 is 5 tarot cards explaining what will their retirement look like, please. And pile number 1s, I couldn't really get a glimpse on location, but we'll see if your pile has any locations, pile number 2s. Especially with, like, time periods of life, I like to try to glimpse maybe what kind of area you'll live in, or if you're currently in retirement, maybe what would be kind of a suggestion for you to live, or where to live, I should say. Here we go, there's 5. Okay. Adjust my chair, sorry for the squeaky noises. Get our ducks in a row. So let's reveal your oracle cards, pile number 2s for your retirement. First up, archetypes, we have Goddess. Light attribute, the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Shadow attribute, exploitation of the female nature and form. Okay, Goddess. The feminine expressed. We have a Father. Interesting. So we have feminine and masculine energy. Interesting dichotomy. All right, light attributes, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. Shadow attributes, dictatorial control, abuse of authority. All right, so some parent type vibes here. Interesting. And then your hero's journey, we received the magic zone, number 43, the exhilaration of discombobulation. I wonder if you're going to be doing a lot of different things in retirement, pile number 2s. Interesting. The exhilaration of discombobulation. Actually, we're going to set that down here a little bit. Let's reveal your Lenormand cards here. You received the girl or the child, the fortress, and the home, reading like these words in a sentence. Let's see. Young authority of the home. Young authority of the home, or protection of the home. Youthful authority of the home. Interesting. Talk about that more in a second. And then we'll reveal your tarot cards and then weave together the full message of what your retirement looks like. So your first tarot card today is the Queen of Swords or Blades. Internal mastery of the way we think. Mastery over our thoughts. Being sharp. Four of Pentacles reversed, or Four of Stones reversed. Letting go of things. Being more generous with things. Number 3, we have the Two of Stones, or Two of Pentacles, balance. 4, the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is about freeing ourselves from a mental prison, or freeing ourselves from the thoughts that hold us back. It's probably a better way to put that. Like this guy unblocking the tree back here. Making a path. And last but not least, we have the Knight of Wands reversed, asking for more action in terms of our passions or willpower, our creativity. All right, pile number 2 is 1 second as I look over your cards. Apologies for the silence as I weave together the message cohesively. So, number 1, pile number 2 is the first thing intuitively that's popping out for me, for you, is there's a lot about... So, okay, I'll put it this way. Not only did you get Goddess, which is the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality, you also got Father, which is talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. There is a theme here of you being almost like a leader of your family, both in a way that expresses wisdom with feminine energy and also masculine energy. I don't know if currently in your life already you're a type of person that's really good about being wise with both feminine and masculine energy to those younger than you. But for those of you, I think if you have children, or if you're planning to have children, or you currently do have children, or, you know, actually, if you currently do have grandchildren too, like I said, this reading is inclusive, so everyone's going to be a different age watching this, but there's going to be a lot about spending time with youth, spending time with grandchildren, spending time with your adult children if you have children now, or, you know, like I said, it's hard to kind of say inclusively for everybody, but you know kind of what I mean. Being a guiding light within your tribal unit, being a guiding light within your family, being the almost like patriarch or matriarch of your family, being the guiding light for them, being wise, and holding everybody together. I don't know if you already do a lot with gatherings for your family, like you're the one that kind of keeps everybody together, you're the one that everybody turns to for advice, or if you're not quite there yet, that's what your retirement kind of looks like, is a very family-oriented, parenting or grandparenting-oriented type deal here, especially too with your Lenormand. A child's protection in the home. Okay. It's like you are focused on making things safe and comfortable for your family or for the home that you live in. That, or it might be that you live with more extended family during your retirement. You're a little bit closer to multiple generations. I know everyone's culture is a little bit different. I know some cultures that's the norm. So if that is your culture and that is the norm, that's not really a surprise to you. But even for those, your culture where it's not the norm, I have a feeling you're going to be living in a multi-generational household is what I get from that Lenormand reading right there, okay? And two, I feel like, especially with the magic zone, exhilaration of discombobulation, like when I first pulled that out, that's about, I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of different things in retirement. I don't see a specific path for every one of you. It's just going to be a time of a lot of creativity and trying different things, okay? I think a lot of the things that you wanted to do during the time before your retirement, you weren't able to do because you either didn't have the energy or the time or the money. Hence, I think that's where this Knight of Wands comes from reversed here, but it's like that retirement time is going to finally open that up, make that Knight of Wands upright, and you're going to be able to take action on your passions that you weren't able to do before. Pile number 2 is okay. And then looking at your other tarot cards here, yeah. Let's see, 4 of Pentacles reversed is like being more generous with things, balance. Yeah, I think you're just going to be spending a lot of time with family. I still get that from these cards, just intuitively, even though that's not the traditional meaning of those particular tarot cards. I also get the feeling that you're not going to be living... It's either that you live in a city during retirement, pile number 2s, or you live in a place where there's a lot of people close to you in terms of, like I said, it could be that multi-generational household I was just talking about. There's a lot of people close to you. A lot of, the imagery I get is like a lot of people clustered together. And so that's the feeling I'm getting for you is, yeah, it's either like a lot of family is around you in your retirement, or like you live in a city where a lot of family lives close to you, okay? Let's see, anything else here, pile number 2s. And being generous with your family, being the person that provides a lot of balance in your family, being the mediator for others in your family too, especially that 2 of Pentacles meaning balance. And almost too being a trailblazer, especially with the 8 of Swords. Now, typically that's a card about mentally freeing yourself, but that particular depiction of the card is people freeing up a pathway. And it's like you're the one that paves the path for your family during this time, pile number 2s. You're the one that says, you know, hey, we haven't gone down this route before. I'm going to use my resources and my time and my wisdom from the life that I've lived to clear this path for my family so that it's an easier walk for them than it was for me. I don't know if you have a high focus on trying to make it better for the generation after you in your family. And maybe that's why you're so close to them, is because you're trying to make their lives better. Like, that's your main goal in retirement, is what I'm feeling here, pile number 2s, is making it the best you can for your family, because that's where you derive a lot of your satisfaction or your fulfillment is, well, how do I make things better for them? How do I be a good family member? How do I be a good, you know, matriarch or patriarch of the family, depending on, you know, of course, your gender. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling from this, pile number 2s. There isn't so much about actions you're going to take in terms of like outside of the home. I feel like your main focus is just going to be like your very close loved ones and your home. Okay. 2, yeah, let's see, Queen of Swords is... I also see a lot of logical pursuits with the Queen of Swords. I don't know if any of you are into like reading or things like chess or things that require a lot of mental stimulation or a lot of like mental thought process with that Queen of Swords. But that's almost the feeling I get from it, is something that requires a lot of sharp intellect. Those are hobbies you're going to be having more time to indulge in during your retirement, pile number 2s. Yeah, and 2, especially with courage here, it being the pile leader that you chose, it's about, you're almost kind of like pile number 1s that way, where you're a leader, but you're, rather than being a direct teacher like pile number 1s were, you're more teaching by example for your close loved ones, and being the one that's courageous enough to say, okay, this is the direction we're going to take, or I think that we should take, at least. You're not going to be forceful about it, of course, but, and also being courageous enough to be, like I said with the 8 of Swords, paving that pathway forward for your close loved ones. And 2, I think with the magic zone, one of the reasons maybe why you try a bunch of different things in your retirement, you might not just focus on one main specific thing, is because you're going to be involved in the lives of others. I feel like you're the type of person that enjoys being in a supportive type role, pile 2s. And so, like, let's say one day your grandchild is trying to learn how to knit or paint. One day you might be doing that, or, you know, maybe a friend of yours is trying something new and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try that new thing with them too. It's like a lot of experimentation. It's not it's not going to be the same thing day after day for you, pile number 2 is. And I don't even think you're the type of person that would want to just sit down and do the same thing day after day. You're someone that needs a lot of mental stimulation, like I was saying before, with the mentally stimulating activities with the Queen of Swords. Someone that's going to have... Oh, it's just exploring so many different things. Yeah. But yeah, especially with your loved ones, your close ones, your family, your home family unit, pile number 2. Okay. So that's what I see for your retirement. And like I said, I feel like if I were to say a location, I said it before, but I'll reiterate, it's either you're going to be living in a city with a lot of family around you, or it's going to be an area where there's a lot of family close by. Okay. That's what I'm feeling. So not quite super rural, but yeah. All right, so let's move on to the advice section of your reading, pile number 2s. Yeah, you're just like, I don't know how to put it. Definitely the family leader, though. For sure. Let's shuffle the cards here. The family leader. Yeah, and I almost get the feeling, pile 2, is that you've always been kind of more focused on your family. You never really cared. I mean, yeah, like maybe you did care about your career before your retirement, at least in terms of making sure, you know, you were successful and you were able to support yourself and your family, but it's almost like that was never your main goal. It was not living to work. You always kind of worked to live. And so that's where, or why that's so prominent in your retirement, because you finally have the time to really put work on the back burner to focus on your family. Okay, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 2s, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards explaining advice for them in their retirement? Thank you. 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then same thing, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 2s, 5 cards of advice for them in their retirement. Or on the way there, I should say, too. Being inclusive, that one's for sure is popping out of all ages. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Excuse me. Get the ducks in a row, as I always say. Okay, let's reveal your oracle cards. So this will be more maybe lessons to be learned during retirement and advice. So first up, we have the Lantern Oracle. Number 14, wishful expectations. Acknowledge the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are. Okay. Got an intuitive hit with that, but we'll see. 1 second. Your botanical inspirations today, flower, is iris, rainbows and messages. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. It's by Unknown. Rainbows and messages. Looking for hope in the dark, basically, is what that means. The rainbow after a storm. Yeah, you have a lot about, like your courage card says something about, it's like waves beating against rocks, and then 2, in your wishful expectations, it's like someone being chained to this wheel and there's like waves and water underneath. It's kind of stormy. And then 2, yeah, like the sunshine after the rain, or the rainbow after the storm, I should say. Interesting. Talk about that in a second. Power of surrender you received. Surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. Okay. Fascinating. Real your Lenormand cards here. We have the key, the whip or the broom, and the crossroads. Reading this in a sentence would be the key to a harsh choice. Okay. Interesting. There's a theme coming out here. I'll talk about that in a second. And then your tarot cards you receive. Number 1, the Empress reversed. Okay. The Empress reversed is about asking for more creative energy, more nurturing. Okay. Stepping more into feminine, motherly energy. Number 2, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay. Taking actions with our emotions. 3, we have the Star reversed. Having hope or faith in something, or lacking, I should say, being reversed. Lacking hope or faith in something. Okay. I see. I'm getting the picture. Okay. Number 4, we have the sun reversed. Okay. The sun reversed is feeling like a lack of happiness in something, lack of joy in something. Ooh, you're pessimistic about your retirement, aren't you, pile number 2s? You are pessimistic. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying there's a theme coming out here. Okay. And then, last but not least, we have the 5 of Swords, conflict. Conflict. All right. Advice on your retirement. Either on the way there, depending on your age, or if you're currently at your retirement. So, just to reiterate, remember we talked about how a lot of your retirement pile number 2s is going to be about being with your family, being the matriarch or patriarch of your family, leading them. Spending time with them, protecting the family unit. Yeah. Trying a bunch of different things. But the advice I'm seeing here, pile 2s, is I feel like there needs to be a mental shift, is what Spirit is telling you in terms of advice. Like I said earlier, I think especially if you're younger and you're not quite at retirement yet, there's a lot of pessimism here, okay? Especially with the star reversed and the sun reversed. That's, I lack hope or faith in something, and I lack joy, or I'm sad about something, okay? 2, you have the Empress reversed, which is about negative feminine energy or lacking feminine energy in something. Feeling like we need to nurture something more. Okay. 2, you have an abundance of major arcana, and I always say this in my readings. People familiar with my videos are going to laugh because I always say it. I see an abundance of major arcana in a reading when there's a major life lesson involved. Okay. This mental shift in terms of how you view retirement or how you view what's possible with retirement, especially when you're younger. Okay. It's a major life lesson for you, pile number 2s, okay? I feel like if I had to say one summary on what I'm seeing so far, you believe that what you dream for retirement isn't possible, especially if you're younger. Okay. I think your life before retirement, depending on where you're at in life, currently is or has been very tumultuous, okay? There's a lot about storms. There's a lot about, braving brackish seas, okay? At least in terms of symbolism. There's a lot about having had courage, like your pile leader says, on going through times of hardship. And oh, yeah, too, with wishful expectations. Like it says, acknowledge the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are. Pile number 2s, okay. I'm going to say this to you. No matter what the economy currently looks like, or what your career currently looks like, whatever the circumstances around your life are right now, especially if you're younger, it's not always going to be the same. I think you're going to, and I'm not just gassing you up, in my readings I always say what I see, okay? I'm not just saying, I'm not blowing smoke here, I'll put it that way. I think your retirement is going to be a lot more successful and happy than you think it is, okay? I know, especially if you're around my age, there's a lot of pessimism about, will I even be able to retire? What will, where I live even look like at that point in terms of, it really depends on what country you're living in, but you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? Pile number 2s. What will the economy look like? Will I even be able to achieve my dreams in the way that it's going for my generation? If you're younger like me, okay, you know what I'm talking about, millennial, Gen Z, or younger even. That type of thing. Whatever your worries are in this area, pile number 2s. Especially because you have your wishful expectations, acknowledging the smoke and mirrors. And you have the iris, which is the rainbow after the storm. Okay, it says, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. 2, you have the star reversed and the sun reversed, okay? Those are saying, have hope and faith. Expect joy. I'm not just gassing you up. Your retirement is going to look a lot better than you think it will. Okay. I can't predict every single, world or economic event between now and then. Okay. But things will perk up and you'll be a lot better off than you think you will be, especially if so far in your life I'm getting the feeling that on the way to retirement you've had a lot of struggles, or if you're currently in retirement there have been a lot of struggles. Things are going to pick up and you're going to have more opportunity to achieve the things that you have dreamed of in retirement, or at least by the time you retire. Okay, pile number 2 is okay. Have hope, have faith, things will be just fine. And that's what I was saying when I think there needs to be a mental shift. Okay, there's a lot of pessimism. I'm not blaming you for it, neither is spirit. Okay, but they're saying have the courage to hope. Have the courage to think positively, okay? And there might be an inclination to not even feel like, oh, I'm not going to even prepare for retirement because, oh, well, it's just going to be, I'm never going to reach my dreams and it's going to be crap anyways, okay? Your Empress reversed here is telling you to keep nurturing your dreams, okay? Keep nurturing seeds for the future, for your retirement. Yes, things might look bleak now for you, whether or not you're not in retirement yet or you're currently in retirement, pile number 2 is, but it's going to pick up and you're going to have, by the time your retirement is, I suppose, not to be bleak, but, retirement to the end of life, okay, things are going to perk up by the end. It's not always going to be the same in terms of finances, in terms of the dreams that you want to achieve, in terms of the things that you wanted to accomplish for, I think, especially your family, because that was a focus earlier on in the reading. And yeah, especially too with your Lenormand, it says the key to a harsh choice. The key to a hard choice or harsh choice, yeah. I'm going to ask intuitive, one second, I'm going to ask what, if I can get any intuitive messages on that. One moment. Okay, I'm being told pile number 2 is the key to a harsh choice. The harsh choice is deciding to be optimistic. And I think they're telling me the reason why you don't want to be optimistic is because you fear that if I'm optimistic, that just leaves me up for more disappointment if I dare to hope. But they're telling you to dare to hope, pile number 2s. Okay, yeah. Dare to hope, pile number 2s. I think I was going to say more, but I'm being told just that's what I should leave you with that particular point of this reading. Dare to hope. And then 2, you have surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships, practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. All right. Now, I don't think this is specifically just for relationships for you, pile number 2s. I think this is actually more about the limitations that you might set upon yourself, like I said, with that pessimistic thinking. Yeah, it's like, and the reason why they're telling you to have this mental shift either before you retire or if you're currently in retirement to work on the mental shift now to expect rainbows after rain is because that is the key to achieving your dreams during this time period of your life, is the courage to hope and the courage to dare to expect things to turn out better than you think. Yeah. Yeah, taking actions on your emotions and your dreams here with the Knight of Cups. Yep. And then the 5 of Swords is, it's interesting. The 5 of Swords is about conflict. It's like a mental battle for you to even hope that. I think because you have had maybe a really tumultuous time in life, especially economically up until the point that you're watching this video. Or financially, I should say. Like, life's just always beating you down, and so you believe, well, there's no way in retirement that I'll ever achieve the dreams that I want to. But I'm being shown and told repeated messages here, pile number 2, is that it's going to turn out a lot better than you think it will. Okay. So that's the main piece of advice for you. Yes, we talked earlier about the focus on your family and things like that, but yeah. Dare to dream, I guess, is a good way to summarize this part. That mental shift towards believing that it's possible will help things become possible. All right. So pile number 2 is that's what I will leave you with today. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Okay, bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a glimpse into your retirement plus advice in this area. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Success with it's either a panther or a jaguar. Anyone in the comments, feel free to correct me if you know better. In a tropical jungle. Beautiful card, Success. So we'll set your pile leader over here by the pine cone as always. This reading will be in 2 different sections. Section number 1 will talk about what your retirement will actually look like, either if you're younger and that's far in the future, or currently in retirement that's more like your near future. Okay, and then the second section of the reading will be more about advice in this area, either on the way to retirement or if you're currently in retirement, advice right now. So sorry for the long explanation. I just have to make sure, because this reading is inclusive to all ages, that I explain it kind of for both. So we'll split the cards right now. We'll talk about those ones later. And then, of course, I like to draw Lenormand and Tarot on screen. So Spirit, for my lovely pile number 3s, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards explaining what their retirement looks like, please? 3 cards, blunt as you can. Thank you. What does their retirement look like? Okay, for sure, that one. Excuse me. My voice is a titch scratchy today. Same thing, pile number 3, Spirit. Could you give me 5 tarot cards explaining what their retirement looks like, please? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Our ducks in a row. Reveal your cards. First up, your oracle cards. We have 2 archetypes. Archetypes number 1 is King. Light attributes: enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. Shadow attributes: excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. And then we have a second one I pulled from the same deck twice today. We have Mother. Light attributes: nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. Shadow attributes: smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. You know, it's interesting, pile number 2 said Father. That's a pretty big deck, so it's interesting. A lot of parenting cards today, or parental figure, I should say. Then last but not least, for your oracle cards, we have the Hero's Journey. You received Time for a Quantum Leap number 7. Prepare for a makeover. Interesting. Well, I'm already getting intuitive vibes from that one. I'll talk about that in a second, though. Keep revealing your cards to keep on our schedule here. Separate your Tenormand. Your Tarot and your Lenormand. So let's see. First up, we have, for Lenormand, the Child, that's come up a lot in readings today. I don't know what that's all about. Okay, the Child, the Bear, and the Lily. So reading this like words in a sentence, I would say youthful strength in older years. Youthful strength in older years. I definitely see a lot of health for you in your retirement pile number 3s. Because the bear is about being someone that's like burly or strong. Doesn't necessarily, you're not going to be like, a steroided out, bodybuilder. Maybe you will, I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like someone more strong physically. All right. We'll talk about that more in a second. Reveal your tarot cards. We have the Sun reversed. Okay, the Sun reversed is feeling like a lack of joy in something or being sad about something. Now, don't run away from the reading yet. We'll talk about that more in a second. Number 2, the Lovers can mean a partnership, either romantic or very close platonic. It can also mean a choice that we make. Sometimes it's another traditional interpretation of the Lovers. Number 3, the 2 of Swords. Making a choice. Look at that. But we also have 2 people in their older years that look like they're a couple helping each other skate. Number 4, we have Judgment. Judgment is all about shifting from, what's the best way to put it? I always have a hard time describing judgment. It's like moving from one phase of life into another, especially spiritually, or to like a higher calling, I suppose is maybe a better way to put that. And last but not least, we have the King of Wands reversed, feeling like we lack external charisma or confidence in something. Interesting. So let me look over your cards here, pile number 3s. I'm going to take a drink and then put together a cohesive message. One moment. Apologies for the silence. So, okay, the first thing intuitively that comes to me, pile number 3s. I'm especially drawn to your Time for a Quantum Leap card, which I'll actually pull out here because it's a little bit hidden based on my limited space. Prepare for a makeover. Time for a quantum leap. I get the feeling, pile number 3, is that your retirement is going to be a lot different of a kind of life than your life before retirement. That's what I'm feeling. And I don't just mean in the normal, oh, hey, I was working a 9 to 5 every day or whatever your job particularly was before retirement to, oh, hey, now I'm not working anymore. Not that kind of a drastic change. I mean something completely different with prepare for a makeover. Like a quantum leap is something that is it's like a vast distance. I don't know if you're going to be traveling a lot or moving really far somewhere from where you are. I mean, at least a few hours. That could be one interpretation of that. That, or it's just like there's something drastically different you're going to do than what you were doing before you retired. That's what I'm feeling with that card intuitively. That's the first thing that popped out to me. And 2, I think it's a very active retirement. Not only do we have, youthful strength in older years with Lenormand. Yeah, like, I don't know if you're going to be traveling a lot. That's kind of what I'm feeling, pile number 3, is traveling a lot, or you're going to be, like, moving a lot or moving farther than you expect. That, or if you're currently in retirement, that's something you're being encouraged towards. Interesting. Yeah, and like, I think you're going to be doing it with a partner, pile number 3s. Now, I know not everybody has a romantic partner, so it could be like a friend. You're almost like pile number 1s that way. It could be a friend that you do all this traveling with. It could even be an animal that you're really close to. Like maybe, I almost see like RV, moving around like in an RV with your dog or your cat, or like with a partner, like a friend or a romantic partner, something like that. A lot of traveling, you're very active and you're not someone who's just going to sit there idly twiddling your thumbs watching, something like TV all day in your retirement. You're someone who is, get up and go. I'm going to go do this now that I have the time and the resources for it, and the things that I couldn't do when I was younger because I was so busy with my career or whatever my day-to-day life was like before I got to this point. And it's really the culmination of your success, pile number 3, is it's really the top of the mountain peak of the mountain you've been climbing your entire life. Very happy retirement I'm seeing here. Yeah, it's like, and on top of that, and this has happened every reading today, I always say in my readings, when there's a majority major arcana in your tarot, so you have the Sun, the Lovers, and Judgment, I tend to see that as it's a major life lesson or a major aspect of your life or your soul path here in this particular incarnation, at least in my personal beliefs. And so I think it might even be the most important time of your life, pile number 3s, is what I'm getting. Yep, I'm being told it's like the most important area of your, like, time period of your life. Especially like early retirement is what I'm feeling here. Just a lot of happiness, a lot of success. Like finally, the feeling or the sentence I'm hearing is like, I've climbed that mountain my entire life and finally I'm at the peak. And I think that's why you have the Sun reversed in the beginning. It's like, okay, this time of, sadness, like maybe you weren't very happy in your career. You just did it because it's like, okay, well, that's what puts bread on the table and keeps the rain out of my soup. But even so, yeah, that's why it's so happy, because it's like, oh God, I'm finally free from that hamster wheel or that treadmill of, oh God, I gotta walk in this drudgery all day. Like, I don't think you ever were like a very career-oriented person, pile number 3s. Like, you were more the type of person that was more, you're like pile 2s that way. You're more focused on the home. You're more focused on the self. You don't live to work, you work to live, is kind of what I told pile number 2s as well. And especially too with mother here, there's, like it says, nurturance, patience, and conditional love, joy in giving birth to life. focusing on your family and nurturing things too. I wonder if you don't already garden a lot. I have a feeling you're going to be gardening a lot when you're in retirement. Pile number 3 is, because not only did you get like the flower, like the lily here, which can mean well, it can mean sexuality too, on top of, older years or elderliness, right? But too, in, sexuality, it can mean like fertility as well. And you also got mother, which is a very like verdant green card, and in your success card, it's like a tropical rainforest. Even here too. I don't know if this is is this a bayou technically? One second. Yeah, it's almost like a bayou or like a wetland. Just very lush, verdant. I don't know if where you live after you travel a lot is going to be someplace very lush, okay? I don't know if that's like jungle or it's like someplace where it's a lot of forests or a lot of trees. Or yes, too, yeah, like a lot of gardens. That's what I'm feeling for you, pile number 3 is just a very beautiful place after you're done traveling around, like after you've kind of settled down past that initial early retirement era of, okay, I'm done with my career, now I can go have fun. And then after you have the fun, so to speak, of course you can have fun of all periods of your life, but the traveling dies down. It's this lush, verdant place. Also, I get a feeling that because of that, it's a little bit more rural than where you were during the earlier periods of your life, where it's more nature than people, is what I'm feeling. Yeah, too, with your king is interesting. Enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. You're like pile number 2 is a lot, where it's like being a leader for your family too, especially with mother also being like a parent type vibe, depending on if you have adult children by that point or if you have like grandchildren by that point. Pile number 3 is depending on if you did have kids. Or like there's a lot about like taking care of other people. Yeah. Taking care of your family, being a leader for your family, benefiting your family. Like, okay, I went through these struggles and now I'm going to take the benefits from what I struggled through earlier in my life with my career, and I'm going to turn that around, and now I'm going to take care of the next generation and nurture them and spend time with them. Yeah. So if you do have grandchildren by that point, pile number 3 is I feel like you're going to be spending a lot of time with them or with your adult children when you can. If you, like I said, if you do have kids. Or just being like almost like a leader in your community a little bit, especially with king. Yeah, like I don't know if you go for like local politics a little bit, like local elections. That's another vibe I'm getting here too, especially with success being down here in king. Because a king is like a political leader, right? Yeah, like local elections. I don't know, in this rural area you live in, you're going to be running for like something like that, where you or even if you're not like an official leader, pile number 3 is you're someone that is kind of considered the town leader anyway. It's like even if you're not elected, technically people might come to you as like, okay, that's the wise person to come talk to you for advice, or that's the wise person to like not, I don't know, not get permission on things, but you know what I'm trying to say. A leadership type value, yeah. And then too, yeah, working with a partner, especially with the lovers and the 2 of swords here. It's like a couple working with each other, both in the lovers, and then the 2 of swords here is like an elderly couple that are helping each other learn how to ice skate. Yeah, making choices. Like just having a whole buffet of choices available to you and being able to really focus on the spirit of living here, especially with judgment, rather than the drudgery of being entrenched so much in earthly things like career and money. Yeah, and you might not have a lot of confidence in it right now, especially with that King of Wands reversed. Pile number 3 is, depending on where you're at in your life, especially if you're younger, it's kind of hard to really glimpse into the future. So that's might be why that there's lack of confidence in this area right now. But yeah, if you're doubting that you'll achieve these things, pile number 3 is I'm seeing a pretty great retirement for you. This is very physically healthy, very lush, abundant with experiences, and a vast change from what you had before with Quantum Leap here. Okay. Traveling a lot too, I see, for sure. Yeah, you know, in the other piles, I tried to figure out if there is like a specific area you would live. I did pick out that it would be lush, maybe probably more rural near forest or jungle. See if there's anything else I can pick up here. There's also a lot about water. Not only do you have a lake here, you have Niagara Falls here, you have them on a frozen lake here, and then you have someone fording a river here. Oh, actually, there's water here too, and the King of Wands reversed. So somewhere near forests and water, okay? I feel like you're drawn to water, pile number 3 is. I feel like you're going to be close to like a river or a lake or the ocean, something like that, where it's very lush and verdant. And you're going to be a very happy, very healthy person in retirement. That's what I'm feeling, okay? A lot happier than you were when you weren't retired yet. Okay, so let's go to advice for you, pile number 3 is either if you're younger and you're looking towards retirement someday, or if you're currently in retirement, advice in that area as well. Like I said, I want this reading to be inclusive for all ages. We'll clear the board here. Shuffle our piles. Yeah, so this reading, or this section of the reading will be more about maybe lessons to be learned in retirement, or like I said, lessons to be learned on the way to retirement in terms of like maybe a mental shift to be taken, or things that Spirit suggests that you do to best prepare for this, what seems like a pretty dang good retirement. So these are the oracle cards we had earlier. So Spirit, for my lovely pile number 3 is, could you give me 3 Lenormand cards on advice for them on the way to retirement or during? 3, please, thank you, as blunt as possible. Okay, we have 1. Spoiler alert, we have the Rider, or the Bard. In this particular deck, it's known as. 2 and 3, okay. And then we have, Spirit, 5 different tarot cards, please, for pile number 3 is advice for their retirement. Thank you. Oh, that wasn't a very good shuffle. We're going to try that again. It came all at once. There we go. Definitely that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get our ducks in a row. Let's reveal your oracle cards, pile number 3. So first up, we have the Lantern Oracle. Number 29, radical self-acceptance. You are perceived the way that you perceive yourself. Interesting. Radical self-acceptance. Yeah. Talk about that in a second. Then we have your botanical inspirations. We have the Pansy. Sweet thoughts. Pray you love, remember, and there are pansies, that's for thoughts. By Unknown. Then we have your surrender card. You have surrender frustration. Yeah, a lot about like gardens. Are you a gardener, pile number 3s? If you're not, you might be in retirement. All right, surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach a situation more calmly. Okay. Let's reveal your Lenormand here. We already saw the first one, which was the Rider. And then the second one is the Owls, or the birds. And the third is the Lord, or the Man. So reading these like words in a sentence. The delivery of communication by a masculine energy. Fascinating. We'll talk about that more in a bit. The delivery of communication by a masculine energy. Okay. And then we have your tarot. First up, the 5 of Cups, which is grief. Number 2, we have the Star, having hope or faith in something. We have the Ace of Vessels, a new relationship or a new emotion, a new way of feeling. Number 4, we have the 4 of Wands reversed. Okay, so this is what I was just saying before. Remember I said I have a feeling you're going to be traveling a lot. 4 of Wands upright is typically about your home. Interpreting it for this reading, being away from home. Being reversed, I mean. Yeah, interesting. And then last but not least, we have the 9 of Cups, emotional fulfillment. Being emotionally fulfilled. Okay, one second. I'm going to look over your cards and take a drink to clear up my voice a bit, and then I will speak in 1 second. Apologies for the silence. Yeah, so pile number 3 is okay. If no matter where you are at in your life right now, okay. If you're younger, like me for example, you're not quite at retirement yet. Or if you're currently in retirement and you haven't gotten to the point at which I was just talking about with like traveling, etc., that type of thing. Remember when I said back to the sun reversed? I was like, I have a feeling that you never really were a career person. I have a feeling that it wasn't so much about fulfillment in career. It was just about keeping like the rain out of your soup and having bread to buy, right? If you're currently at that point where you're still in your career, you're not retired yet, this is the advice to you. Surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup. You may approach the situation more calmly. I feel like that's a hint that you're currently very frustrated in your career if you're still before retirement. And they're asking you to look at ways to let go of that frustration just to make it easier for you on the way towards that time of your life where you're going to be traveling and having a lot more fun and freedom. Okay, especially too with sweet thoughts. That's about positive thinking, having sweet thoughts, letting go of more negative, pessimistic thoughts. And I know that's easier said than done. Pile number 3 is to be like, okay, well, yeah, you have decades more until you get to the fun part of your life, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have fun along the way until retirement. Pile number 3 is there's always light and there's always darkness no matter what period of life that we're in. And the best thing that we can do, even if we're not necessarily the most happy where we are right now, is to try to think positively and to think, okay, well, yeah, I'm not exactly where I would like to be right now in life, but I'll change everything that I can within my power, and the things that I can't change, I'm going to try to be as optimistic as I can and hope for the best in the future, especially with the star being next to the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is grief, and the star is, okay, but have hope or faith in things. You're almost like pile number 2 is where I feel like you're a little bit pessimistic about your retirement, especially if you're younger viewing this video. It's almost like you don't feel like you're going to be able to have the retirement that you dream of. But at some point in your life here, pile number 3 is you're going to recognize that actually this is possible, this type of retirement that I'm talking about. And it's going to completely revitalize all of your emotions and the way that you kind of view having hope in life for a better time or being more emotionally satisfied here, especially with the 9 of Cups. It's just accepting what is right now, especially with radical self-acceptance, right? Accepting what is right now and thinking more positively will help you along the way until your retirement if you're younger, or if you're currently in retirement, pile number 3 is if you're not quite at the fun part yet, like we talked about, where, okay, you're traveling around having a grand old time. Yes, you might not have gotten to that immediately upon retiring, but I have a feeling that that's something coming for you. It's just that Spirit is suggesting having optimism in the meantime to make the ride a little bit smoother. What's interesting, too, is, like I said, your Lenormand here. A delivery of communication by a masculine energy. I feel like there's someone in your life, pile number 3 is, who is of masculine energy, who would give you a lot of really great advice in this area. I don't know if so it doesn't necessarily have to be a man. It can be of anyone of any gender, but I tend to see maybe it could be someone who's like of an older generation male, like could be a father, it could be a grandfather, an uncle, something like that, maybe older cousin. Whatever it pertains to you, pile number 3 is that will give you a lot of really good advice in this area. Maybe that's even where this dream started for you, is you saw someone that was an older generation than you did this same thing, and you're like, okay, I want to have what they had, okay, but how did they get there? What did they do to get there? Even if they're passed on, pile number 3 is, in which case my condolences if they are. Look at their example. What did they do to reach their dreams? What did they do when they maybe were frustrated with their career and all they wanted to do was, I just want to get back to the traveling and the fun, or I want to get to the part of the traveling and the fun? Follow their example, okay? How did they live their life? Both all the way to their retirement and afterwards, okay? That's a piece of advice I'm being given for you, pile threes. Following their example. And I think if you were to do those things, pile threes, you know, surrender the frustration of where you're at right now, maybe indulging a little bit more positive thinking. Not only will that make your life more enjoyable right now, if you're not currently in retirement, or you're at least maybe in retirement but not at that fun part yet, it'll make the ride a lot smoother. Yeah. Let's see if there's any other pieces of advice here before I sign off with you, pile threes. Look at your radical self-acceptance for one moment. You're perceived the way that you perceive yourself. Yeah, it's like you're just accepting what is right now, as hard as that might be. But just know that that emotional satisfaction with the Nine of Cups here is coming. That time away from home with the Four of Wands reversed is coming. Two is interesting. Here at the bottom of the Ace of Vessels, there's the water lilies, or like lotus. And the story of the lotus is that it grows through the mud before it gets to the surface of the water. It goes through some murky times before it can bloom. That's kind of what I'm seeing as a metaphor here with where you might be frustrated with where you're at right now, pile threes. Flowers don't immediately bloom. Seeds don't immediately grow into verdant blossoms, pile threes. Sometimes it takes time, and the only thing we can do on the way there is to hope for the best and try to be as optimistic as we can, and look to older generations with masculine energy in your family or your life that you look up to, and find wisdom in the path that they took that you're on right now. That's the advice I'll leave with you today, okay, pile number three. So, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile threes.